Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming, and this is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 4, Extended Breakdown. We started doing this last night with our complete recap. We couldn't get through all of it, and the reason is because we love the last couple episodes so much. We get into them, we come up with some topics, we drill down, we're funneling, we're theorizing, we're doing all these fun things. And you know what? If the flow is there, if we've got a good rhythm with a topic, we're not going to shut it down. We're going to keep talking about it and have a good time with it. I had a great time with the earlier stream. I know some people tuning in for the first time, they're probably going to say, oh man, that dude is nuts. He was ranting. You guys know. I mean, if you're new to the channel, it's going to take you a few probably to get used to what we do here. But if you've been here for a little while, you know that it's all in good fun. Sometimes we rant. We like to get some good theories out there. Tonight, we're going to do a little bit of a recap, but who knows what it's going to turn into. Let me start out by saying, you guys got a second. I do have to do this every once in a while. My Patreon army up there, unbelievable group. A lot of these streams are brought to you by that sponsorship right there. Great group of names up there. Last couple days, we just added several more people. You guys see Catface Killer, Ben Stevenson, Ron Moore, Ricky Lutz, Alejandro Martini, Kim Sharp. And in the top right-hand corner, we got our PDL sponsors. If you don't know what PDL is, all I'm going to say is tune in this Friday. It's our role-playing game. It puts you in the live action, puts you in the just in the mix. What are you going to do? You're going to make good decisions, bad decisions, but we walk all the way through it, and we got a continuation of that this week with a couple extra twists, so you want to be here. Rest of the week, I know some people had messaged me as well and said, what are we doing for Halloween? We're doing double shots tomorrow night, so we got 7:30, 9:30. On Halloween, we're only going to do one stream, and it is going to be at 9:30. So we're not doing the early stream, buy a lot of candy, give them out to the kids, but we are going to be doing our 9:30 stream. So once that winds down a little bit, we're going to hang out and do our bold predictions. So hopefully that works for everybody. Just want to be respectful of everybody's schedule, thoughts, ideas. So let's get into it. Let's talk about last week's episode, because over the next couple days, we're going to talk about next week's episode too, because there's some major stuff going down. I don't know exactly where we left it last night, but I'm going to pick up with the Daryl and Negan jail scene. So with Negan there, already locked up, doing the right thing. As we know, Daryl asked him, he says, why help Lydia? You ain't no hero. I mean, he's basically not accusing him, but he's sort of feeling him out a little bit. Like, you're not the same Negan maybe I knew. And Negan said, no, I'm not. I'm a sucker. I started believing in your way of life. You gave me a taste of freedom so you could yank it away when I did the right thing. Negan's angry. He's angry and he's disappointed because he feels like he was tricked. Which is a little weird, because I know we're still waiting on Negan to pull some major, mind trick and I got some saviors waiting here and I'm going to rebuild and I'm going to take over. But I don't think that's where we're at right now. I really think he's comfortable. And, we talk about Sadiq's survivor's guilt. Do you guys think that Negan has a little bit of that survivor's guilt as well? Really curious. I'm going to table my thoughts on that right now. And I just want to kind of, get the audience out there to find out who feels that he's guilty, killed those people. He wished he would have died. Few people say yes. Couple people say nope. What was interesting is when he was locked up last season, there was a time that it appeared that Negan wanted to end his own life. Or he wanted somebody to end his life. I really think that Negan wanted Maggie to kill him. What do you guys think? You guys think that's a crazy theory? That he thought it would be poetic justice if Maggie would have just ended it for him. That would have been his way of giving back, I guess, in a weird sort of way. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, and she didn't. So think about that. It's like we think about, like, should Maggie have done it? Should she not have? Did Negan want to die? Did he not want to die? So she might have actually made life harder for him by not giving him an easy way out. Very interesting. Ben Stevenson says, kills, it was Negan hitting rock bottom, and now he has a new sense of purpose. I love this. So, I don't think it's a tired theme. I think it's a real theme. I know when you see something happen several times on a TV show, like, I'll give you an example. The Passage. I like The Passage, but there was this scene at the beginning of Passage where the car was running away and, I don't know if it was a train or another truck or something, but they just got away. And we were talking about it, and The Passage got much better. And then one of the first things we talked about was like, okay, we've only seen that 1,000 times, right? They do that where, look, first of all, I've never been driving a car running from anybody, but if I were, I could tell you I wouldn't be lucky enough to be just far enough in front of the other car that I pull up and another car pulls in front, causing the car behind me to stop, right? I mean, can you guys think of something on a movie or a TV show that you've seen happen more often than that? If so, let's make it kind of a loose chat, a loose recap. But give me an example of things that you see, themes that you see in movies or TV shows that happen more frequently than the getaway. It's hard, right? But one of the themes is elevator door. That's another one. Ben Stevenson. Elevator doors closing at just the right time. And nobody ever tries to pry it open. If you're chasing somebody, if you really, a split second, you really, really want to open that elevator door, you probably can. Train cuts them off in the getaway. So all these things. So the reason I bring this up is because the rock bottom theme is probably one of those that is a common theme. Somebody hits rock bottom, and then they got to be redeemed and resurrected and all of those things. But the reason why I don't think it's a tired theme is because there's a lot of things that can force someone to rock bottom. Loss of someone, loss of something, loss of some status, addiction, so many different ways that you could feel like you have no future, and all of a sudden you're given another opportunity. And in most cases, we don't see people, at least in TV shows and movies, we don't see them waste that second opportunity. So you could probably argue, all right, that might be a little bit redundant, but Negan, the way I look at it, he's living on house money. He's living on he's got a free pass. So what he does with it is all for the benefit. If he saves somebody, that's a person that wouldn't have been saved if he died. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. We got a super chat in the house. What's up, Bamber Kitty? Bamber Kitty getting it kicked off says, Negan is not a natural killer. In his comic story, he was absolutely horrified the first time he killed a walker. He became a killer out of necessity. There are elements of that I agree with. There's some elements of that, Bamber Kitty, we might be able to break down and dispute a little bit. So certainly some of his killing could be necessity, but one could argue the method of which he killed was his necessity. Here's why. Negan has leadership ability, but he also had a vision of what it took in order to survive, which was kind of the opposite of Rick's vision. Now, Rick is not a saint. Rick did some things, but Negan killed to instill fear, and you can't rise up against him. And the council is kind of the opposite of that. if there is one thing on the Walking, and I know you're referring to the comic, but I'm going to tie them all together. The council is almost like, hey, we're not Negan. We're a democracy. We're going to let people speak up. These are kind of the elected officials. So, and the way I would validate that, Bamber Kitty, is we know that the Saviors were not a success. Anyone here think that the Saviors were successful in their mission? That Negan as the dictator and you give us half and we'll protect you, in quotes, or don't rise up or we'll knock you back down? So ultimately, they weren't a success. How do we know that? Because Rick defeated them. So if they had been a success, if people would have appreciated that way of life, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. So there's always someone that was going to challenge them. Look at what happened to Dwight. Look at what Dwight had to deal with. And the Dwight story was happening even before Rick. I mean, Negan was doing some twisted stuff. So, Bamber Kitty says the Saviors were unsustainable, but Negan believed his way was the only way to keep people alive. I agree with that. But in the scheme of things, and I think the early comment was, Negan killed out of necessity. He killed out of his necessity and in order to establish his rule of law. And he did learn to adapt to that. He did learn to become that. We got Goucher super chatting it. Thank you so much. He's like, I'm throwing it out there. Appreciate that, Goucher, and everything you do for the channel. Certainly, your support, your interaction, very much appreciated. So let's go with Negan's principles and how he's transitioning that. But somewhere down in there, and you know, to tie back in with Bamber Kitty's point, somewhere in there was a person, and that person reacted, and he did some things, and he saw a little bit of success, and he's like, this works, right? And he convinced himself it was the way to do it because he had some early results. People were weak. They were scared. He provided a service, and if you didn't like his service, well, you speak up, you die. But there were certainly some elements of change. The world made him a dark leader, his bad decisions, but then it all caught up to him. If you had to zero in, and this is why I said we're going to do a recap of this, but I love these deep Walking Dead topics. So if you had to pinpoint one thing that changed Negan for the better, what would you say? I want to get your thoughts, I want to get your opinions on this. If you guys are brand new and you're enjoying our stream for the first time, thank you for being here. Subscribe, hang out with us. We do this every night. Also, those people here on a regular basis, people that are brand new, do me a favor. Pike that like button, everybody. Hit that like button. Oh, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love where you guys are going with this. I had to choose. Some people are saying Judith. I agree. Carl's death. E. Beach is like, nope, it's Judith. Emmy says Carl, but ultimately Judith. I love the passion behind this. But you guys have heard the cliche, you have to crawl before you can walk. Judith was certainly round 2 of the redemption tour. Carl showed him the future. And there was a lot of reasons for that. You could refer to the comic if you want. Negan, but let's go TV show. Negan wanted Dwight's wife. Negan wanted a kid. Negan saw Carl, who was not afraid of anything. Negan saw Carl get in the back of a truck and shoot things up. And then he gave him the tour, showed him the way of life. And the moment that I saw Negan change was when he made Carl sing. And Carl broke down into tears. That to me was the moment that I saw Negan starting to understand that this random killing, that taking from people, is not filling that void. It was the first touch of that, wait a minute, this kid feels something. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong after that. He did. He continued down a little bit of a path. But he saw the future in Carl. And as much as our contingency and our fans don't like the Carl death and don't like the Chandler Riggs situation, the writers certainly tried to make Carl's death a bigger redemption arc than it turned out to be. In fact, there were so many Carl fans, it angered a lot of fans, and it didn't have that appeal that it should have had. Like normally with The Walking Dead, you can tie A to B, and it's like, hey, yeah, this death is really, really good. But because of the backstory with Chandler, people didn't fully appreciate how it went down. I understand that. I see both points of view with that. So, the reason why all this is important is because everything that happened after that was the writers gradually giving us a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And here we are with Negan in jail again, killing again, and being the topic of conversation again. So I love the very next scene when after Daryl finishes talking to Negan, well, he gets to talk to Carol. So Carol does not talk to Negan, has not had that epic scene with Negan. But Daryl and Carol, how are you? And she says, I heard what happened. Everybody's talking about Negan. Love, love, love this little nugget. It's like time never moved. How brilliant is that? That Carol's exact line, we see the clock, we see her looking down at her wrist, we see no hands on the clock, no concept of time. And Carol, just out of the blue, everybody's talking about Negan again like time never moved. Beautiful way to tie that back in of all the things she's been struggling with. And then we see the division between the groups. So I'm going to draw another compare and contrast situation. And I'm going to give a kills coin away if you guys can follow this path I'm going to take you down. Aaron is to Daryl as Carol is to whom? And then I'm going to explain to you why that the four are completely opposite, but the agendas are not. Aaron is to Daryl as Carol is to whom? This is going to be a tough one for you guys. I'll jump on the super chat in 1 second. Another 3 seconds. There it is, Ron Burgundy Moore. Coming up big time. As Carol is to Sadiq. Now you guys are probably like, Kills, you're going to have to explain that one. Give me a second. Let me get to this super chat and I'll explain to you why. Tyler Neifert says, I bet Rick's death changed Negan in some way. Tyler, I think Negan has a conspiracy theory baked in his head about the helicopter. I still don't know if Negan thinks that Rick is dead. And I think that's going to be a part of the story. So it may have changed him, but I certainly feel like Negan and Father G and the helicopter, they're the only two. No Jadis, no Rick. Don't forget what Negan knows. And I don't think it's too late for that story to surface. I'm going to touch on that in 1 second. So Aaron is to Daryl what Carol is to Sadiq. And here's why. We start to see this division about who's worried about the internal strife and who's worried about the external threat. Aaron and Daryl are both worried about what's going on in Alexandria. Whether that is, look, Aaron is worried about Negan. Daryl is worried about the bullying with Lydia, with Negan, all of the above. Sadiq and Carol are both point blank. This is exactly what Carol said. Daryl says, I don't give a shit about him, but I do believe her. Carol says, our real enemy is out there. Sadiq said almost the exact same thing when Aaron started talking about could Negan be redeemed. And Sadiq had, I loved his line. It was so matter of fact. He said, what are you even talking about? That is probably, of all the most direct, condescending things I think I've ever seen on The Walking Dead. Aaron's just going through this whole, some of you feel like he might be redeemed. I think he's broken. I do this. And Sadiq just shuts him down immediately like, what are you even talking about right now? Our real enemy is out there. So as different as the four are, there are some common strategies of how they want to approach things. And if they can't do both, they're going to be in trouble. You can't focus too much on the paranoia and the internal strife and let somebody climb over your walls, but you can't be so focused on the people climbing over your walls that you forget that people have real emotions and they have all of these problems. So we're going to drive that point home. Let me kind of touch back on the Negan opportunity. Question. Why are people, other than the fans, not talking about the helicopter, not talking about Jadis leaving, not talking about being able to find Rick's body, and Father G and Negan in particular not saying, she did want to have them fly me away somewhere. I mean, these were the two that were supposed to be airlifted. Those are some pretty glaring facts, if you think about it. And Angela Lewis says, leverage? Maybe. I would love it. Well, see, here's the thing, Eric. You know how those cartels and drug dealers and people that are in jail and maybe right when they get ready to be executed or the chopping block is like, hey, I know something. Just asking, is it possible that this is Negan's only, in a weird sort of way, his only leverage, his only get out of jail free card? If they were to take him to to hang him or whatever they were going to do, and then he plays that, hey, by the way, I know something that worth keeping him alive. I'm not, hey, why play your hand? Not necessarily saying that the writers thought that through, but I would not be surprised with Negan. Negan's not a big talker. He is he's an antagonizer. But, not one of those just going to reveal your deep, dark secrets. But he certainly knows. And the reality is, even if he does say something, what are they going to do? Going to ride their horse after a helicopter? And the other point is, it has been 7 years. So at this point, it's probably not even an important topic, but in the beginning, it certainly could have been something that he was keeping close to the vest. All right, we're going to talk about a couple more and a little bit of the recap. So, we got a pretty good hilltop fight going on. And how many people really, really appreciated the directing of Michael Cutlitz and that hilltop fight scene? I thought it was incredible. Full moon in the background. We got Magna, Luke, Yumi, Kelly, Connie. Let's go back and remember the introduction of Magna's group. If you guys remember, how was Magna's group introduced? Eric Beach says, dude, if Michonne heard, that would be important. It would be important, Eric, no doubt about it. But it would also make him a little bit more expendable. And I'm not saying that they know that he knows something, but why not just kind of keep it close to the vest? Just in case everything hits the fan. Like, for example, if he wouldn't have got unlocked, and let's say Father G would have voted him to die, and he's getting ready to be hung, and he's like, hey, I got something important I want to talk about. Maybe that buys him a little bit of time. So, those of you that are up on your Walking Dead history, you said, Judith found them, but they were surrounded by walkers. How ironic is it that Michael Cutlitz directs a scene and looks like we might be breaking up Magna's group with one more nice fight scene at Hilltop. We get to see all 5 of them out there, and you guys will see this in our bold predictions on Thursday. I will make a very, very bold statement that we will never see Magna's group, the 5 of them, fighting together again. That this is their last hurrah. It's their last fight scene. Because I think we're going to lose 2 relatively quickly. So, Eric, as a follow-up, says, is that the reason why Michonne leaves? Because of Negan info? Certainly that could play into it, Eric. I like that story. that there's some validation. Or I think Maggie could give them some info, and Negan and Father G can reinforce that. And then maybe, if you really, really want it to be dark, how about where everybody thinks that Michonne is handing Lucille to Negan? Wouldn't that be a hell of a thing if after 7 years, Negan tells Michonne about the helicopter and she's ready to beat him down with Lucille and then doesn't do it? I think that would be a nice twist as well. That would certainly be, you're just now telling me this? Just food for thought. I would play it out that way, but not my pencil, not my paper, not my script. But I certainly think Maggie coming back is believable enough. Add a little bit of Father G, add a little bit of Negan to it, and I think that's reason for Michonne to go look. Michonne is broken. She's still broken. Right? Angel Calor says, I can see him say, well, you never ask. It certainly. That would be typical. Like 7 years. Or maybe Angel, even something real sarcastic like, well, we weren't really on speaking terms. So, yeah, certainly could have a classic Negan twist to it. So, I do think the history, the irony is always a binding force with The Walking Dead. So as Michael Cutlitz comes on to direct this, I think it's poetic to say that let's take them out the same way we brought them in. Give them that one beautiful moment of all of them sort of fighting together. And that's why I think this picture is so important. Kelly and Luke saying goodbye. Yumi and Magna got some domestic problems going on. But here's what makes their story, I agree, I think they're dead. But here's what I guess kind of concerns me and reassures me at the same time. Luke had a great reaction, right? Luke's like, huh? What? Her? Oh, the tall with the face. Yeah, I mean he was busted, right? He's leaving for a girl. But this is what really scares me. And it's not that Luke's going to Oceanside and he's very happy and he has some purpose now. Daryl, how many people would agree that Norman Reedus, as Daryl, plays these support, I'll be your shoulder to cry on, always there for people? How many people think Daryl does this as good as anybody on the show? Anybody goes through something and they need that person is just real and right there for you at your darkest, lowest moment, that Daryl is the person that needs to be in that scene. A lot of people agree with that, right? Does it not add some... Karen Rife's like, yes, of course. Hold on, Karen. You'll see where I'm going with this. So, are you guys a little concerned that Kelly just goes out on her own and Connie and Daryl happen to be in the scene looking for her? So, when something does happen to Kelly and Connie loses it because it's her sister, well, look who's in the scene. They're not going out there to further their romantic relationship. They're going out there much, I guess very similar to when Connie went with Daryl to find Henry. Daryl will go with Connie to find Kelly. But the outcome, I think, is going to be a little bit different. Kelly's out there on her own doing something she should not be doing. And I'm going to say, if she goes out there by herself and she becomes a border marker, she absolutely deserves it. I don't fault her wanting revenge. I fault her decision making if she chooses to go out tracking things by herself, especially knowing that she's starting to lose her hearing and she's going to be in a tough situation. And I certainly think that when Connie hits an emotional low because her sister, something happened to her, Daryl will play that scene really, really well. I think he does an amazing job as a support mechanism. So I think, those three things, the fight scene, the group all being together, the goodbye hug between the two of them, and the arcs of what they're going to do, the bad decision making, to me, spells out this ain't all for nothing. This is all really, I think episode 5 is where I feel like we're going to start ramping up the fight, the betrayal, the death, the consequence, alpha, all of the above. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to tell you guys, put on your seatbelts because the last 2 episodes have been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Nova Sky in the house says, love your streams, Kills. Thank you so much, Nova. I appreciate that. Should I ask? How many people love our streams? How many people love getting in here, breaking down The Walking Dead, hanging out with us twice a night? We're doing double shots, everybody. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 streams a night. We would be doing 2 on Thursday, but it's Halloween. So if you guys are having a good time, do me a favor. Let somebody know about it. Hang out with us. And most importantly, I love when you guys hit the like button because somebody watching for the first time, they're going to look at that and say, wow, this is a very, very tight-knit collective group. So appreciate you guys being here breaking down the episode. So we're at the hilltop fight scene. So, a couple little tidbits from that is we did get to see the scene of the tree. Still questions about the tree. Did it fall? Was it chopped down? If it was chopped down, who did it? Why didn't they hear it? Somebody had to be keeping watch. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. But Ezekiel did get on his horse. I think that's literal and figurative. Ezekiel's back in the saddle again, right? Michonne got him back in the saddle. So he's willing to help. And then as the walkers broke through the wall, has there ever been a better choreographed scene? And if you can think of one, please put it in there. Please, put it in comments, put it in chat. The Michonne Judith scene, and when Michonne looks at Judith and gives her that look like, you got it, you're a badass now. That one little pause, that one little moment of what pride, what amazing. Absolutely one of my favorite scenes, them fighting together. If you didn't feel something from that scene, you might not be a Walking Dead fan. Because it was as good as anything that I've seen. Judith carrying on that legacy. She's got the sword of Michonne, the ability to use the sword like Michonne, and the hat of Rick. She's a combination of the two. So there is zero chance she leaves the show with Michonne. There's no way. There's no way that they have built her up to this degree not to have her do some big, big things on the show. So I highlighted that, starred it, circled it at my absolute favorite moment. So some really, really good dialogue back and forth. Right after that scene, Daryl and Michonne have their radio talk. There are a couple really important points from that radio talk. One, absolutely. So Christmas Girl says Judith proves nurture over nature. So how Judith was raised didn't have to be her biological parents. Well, you know, Christmas Girl, one could argue that there was a little bit of nurture and nature because she might have had a little bit of Shane in her as well. That's not a bad combination, is it? Think about it. You got Shane, crazy Shane is your dad, and then Michonne and Rick raising you. That's some pretty good stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. Michonne has certainly done an incredible job the last 7 years. That is her primary influence. Eric Beach. Judith's so adorable, like my own daughter. Oh, there you go. Way to get that shout out. So she would certainly, if you're in a zombie apocalypse, what Judith did would certainly make you proud. She can defend herself. And it wasn't just, remember in the past, like Judith holding the gun and you're thinking like, how can this little girl even handle the gun? But now she got the sword. It seems more natural. And I love the transition of how they transitioned her from holding the gun to using the sword. And weapon, bullets might be hard to come by too. But she's like the complete package. Next thing you know, she's going to learn martial arts. She'll be doing everything. I don't know, guys. I just feel like Judith and RJ at some point are going to be the future of The Walking Dead. I really do. And I think because we're going to be watching it so long at that time, the way we gravitate toward Judith's character because of her ties to Rick and Michonne, if 3-4 seasons from now, Judith was the star of the show, I don't think people would discount that. I really think the audience, myself, I think we'd rally around that. Interesting story. See how the future is going to play out. Daryl tells Michonne something happened. And let me get your thoughts in this video. What did you guys think about Michonne's reaction? I'm gonna hold my opinion for a couple seconds. And I just want to see when Daryl started telling Michonne something happened, and then we didn't hear everything, but we know that he told her. Kind of fast forwarded a little bit. What did you think about her reaction? Hang on. So this asshat in our stream right now that just got deleted, Rick Grimes. I'm not going to read what he said, but it's funny because, dude, you were here like a week ago, and apparently I was arrested in 1998, and you just now said I was arrested in 2006. So if you're going to drop in, at least get your dates correct. When was it? What an idiot. The moderators just kicked him out the door. Wow, that's his third account to jump into an account. He's going to come up with another one, and apparently I'll probably have been arrested in 2014 next. What an idiot. You know what? It's Walking Dead season when the trolls come in full force. And he keeps coming in here with like these Walking Dead names like he's a fan. There he is. Oh, he's back. There it is. Oh, Yeah, now I'm back. Okay. He got it this time, back in 1998. All right, anyway. Let's move on. I gave him his 2 seconds of attention. Moderators are all on top of it. So, Michonne is very level-headed. It's almost as if she's like, I don't want to completely get into her mindset, but like she expected something to happen, but she also understands that he's innocent. She gives him the benefit of the doubt. And then she says something very profound to Daryl. Take my vote, but do the right thing. Then we go to something else that's really cool. So we've got Father G. And this is what I liked with Father G. Is Aaron was very indecisive. And if you guys missed the earlier show, go back and watch Aaron and go back and watch how we compared Aaron's behavior to the behaviors of Father G. Aaron did not speak up. Aaron did not defend Negan. We know that. We're not real happy about that. Father G, when put in the moment of questioning, Gage immediately says, we're trying to scare her. And then he turns it around and says, the girl is a psycho. And Father G's question is, if you thought she was a psycho, why did you agree to meet her back there in the dark? Let me get your thoughts on that. What did you think about Father G, whereas Aaron ignored the 3 bullies? Father G, I wouldn't say he got a smile, but when Lydia came in and started cutting the animal at the table, Father G thought it was tit for tat. So he thought, okay, he didn't speak up. So almost like he's trying to balance what they were doing to Lydia by letting Lydia kind of get her say. Now, in a perfect situation, I think Aaron and Father G should have got together and maybe just shut everything down. But Lydia was probably more justified than the other 3. And then Lydia's not out there beating the kids up. They're attacking her. 3-on-1, by the way. But you can see Father G absolutely is in touch with what was happening and was seeing right through Gage's lie. So we know Daryl's got the vote. This is, I'm going to keep going. But I will say, it is a sad state of the world when one person creates 10 different accounts to spam somebody's stream. Whether it's psychosis, whether it's jealousy, whatever, and you guys can't see it, but I do want to say this. Unbelievable. Not only reported, but just a sad, sad situation that you got so much time on your hands to create name after name and try to come into a stream and ruin thousands of people's fun, which you're not, when you could take that same amount of time, that 30, 45 minutes or an hour, and actually get off your lazy ass and go out into the world and do something productive. And sadly, there are too many people like you. Too many. Not just a basement troll, but a person is probably going to turn into a convict. Clearly, you have no vision, you have no future, and I hope you get help. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done addressing you. I hope you get yourself some help. All right. Back to Hilltop. As we talked about, I thought Josh McDermott had a really interesting take on the Luke Eugene conversation. And I kind of missed that. So, did you guys agree with Josh McDermott's take on Talking Dead? When he said that there was a moment between Luke and Eugene where Eugene is almost jealous of Luke. Think about that for a minute. Eugene has been trying for how many years to get the girl? Like, unbelievable. But Luke got the girl. They're both geeks. So here's the question I have for you guys. What is the difference between Eugene and Luke? Leave your comments below. I got the super chat. We got Julie J. Who has that kind of negative time? We cannot even see what you troll right thanks to Emmy, Steph, Tommy, and Kels. Absolutely. Well, I didn't want to tell them that because this person's now created 11 different accounts and not one of his derogatory comments has even shown up on the video because it's blocked. So what an amazing waste of time. But let him keep doing it. Dude, come up with like 20 or 30. I just wanted to kind of point out that there are people like you in the world, and I wanted the audience to know. But your stuff's not even getting through. So, yeah. And shout out to YouTube and to Google for catching people like that. And as he's reported, a shout out to the two of them to make sure that it's a safe environment. Ben Stevenson says Luke is a musician. That's how he gets ladies. You guys agree with that? Lewis Grimes saying Eugene is robotic. Graylin says, well, some of it could be how Eugene speaks. Like, Luke is smart, but he speaks in ways that people truly understand. I think that if Eugene could drill down to the very concept of what is keeping him from getting the ladies, then he might make a truly bona fide change and be able to score one for the team. So I think Eugene, Josh McDermott just gave us a big, big hint. Eugene is about to change. Eugene is going to emulate a little bit of Luke's behavior. Not just the hair, the attitude. And I think we're going to see a shift in his personality because he's going to realize that he distances himself from people. Not accepted. And I think that moment that Josh kind of mentioned, and it was very real, it was very true. What is he doing that I need to start doing? Taya's like, you mean not being a creep? Yeah. Like, yeah. Eugene is always, I mean, look, he's never really stirred the pot, caused a lot of trouble. There's worse. But it's time to start working on his character, work on a little bit of change. Let's get real for a moment. I'll make my point. Have any of you, maybe not recently, but at some point in your life, preteen, teen, college, after a relationship didn't work, have any of you in this stream ever went through a drastic overhaul with either your social skills, your physical appearance, something that you thought would either change how people responded to you and if you don't feel comfortable answering, don't. Many people have. Eugene never really has. And people have just accepted him for being that scientific geek. And, they see it. He's talking about procuring just the right amount of timber in order to bring his engineering skills to properly secure the fortification that Hilltop so badly needs. And then Michonne is like, you mean you're going to fix the wall? I don't know if that's what he said. I'm just kind of, I'm going with the flow. But in so many words, it was, and Eugene gets a look like, he almost got a look as if maybe I should stop giving you 1,000 words because all you're going to do is just really drill down to what I'm saying anyway. I think exactly. I'm the smarter than you. Maybe it's time for him to put up and shut up a little bit at the same time. Good stuff with Hilltop. A lot of good stuff in that dialogue. Then the second scene, Magna and Yumiko not on good terms. They were on really good terms at the start of the episode. But Magna doesn't like Yumiko stepping up and taking a lead. This is a very important story. I don't know if I'm willing to go out on a limb and make a bold prediction just yet, but I see one of two possible scenarios happening. But the leadership and the control, the relationship control, who's in charge, is a big deal. One, Magna is going to relinquish leadership because she knows that Yumi is a quicker thinker and a more rational decision maker. That's option one. Option two, Yumi is going to appease Magna, and it's going to get somebody in a whole lot of trouble. And I think that's more of a twisted version of what could happen. Like I said, I'm not ready to choose A or B, but I see that as being a very important future outcome. You become the leader and we start to see a stronger Yumi, or we see a Yumi that's not willing to cause chaos and controversy with her lover, and that ends up getting somebody in trouble. Just keep those two possible scenarios in mind. Lydia, I got to be honest. When I saw Lydia in the jail cell, and I'd never heard the song, the song that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I really thought that was Lydia in the jail cell, and she was doing that to keep herself sane. She's really starting to go back into her abusive childhood and all of those things. I'm like, uh-oh, Lydia's counting to keep herself focused, to keep herself sane. But I also don't like where Lydia's at right now. Lydia's thinking back to her father. She is accepting Alpha, and she's comparing what Daryl's group and what Alpha's group. See, Negan and Lydia are very much alike. They were both outcasts. They were both brought in. And I'm afraid that Lydia is not going to be able to fully get it. That she is more impressionable at this point. And she tried to change. She fell in love. She lost the person she was in love with. She said, "You are my people." Her people abused her and betrayed her. She believed in a process. That process was either going to kill Negan or exile Negan. And she compares herself to Negan, and the one thing she does that's really important is she actually justifies what Alpha does and what Alpha said. She said, "My mom says that you people put on masks, that you're fake. You put on these fake masks. You get scared and you pick a target, aim and shoot. Me and Negan, anything but you. Let me read this again to you. It's a very powerful statement, and it might have went under the radar. You could probably stop by saying this. Lydia tells Daryl, well, that's me writing, sorry. But she does. My mom was right. Whew. There you go. Right there. The most evil woman in the history of The Walking Dead, her daughter right there is looking at Daryl saying, my mom was right. And Daryl can't say anything. You people put on fake masks, you get scared, pick a target, aim and shoot. Me and Negan, anything but you. Super, super powerful. Daryl tells Lydia, you don't belong in a cage. She says, I feel safe here. Is Lydia safe in the cage, or is the cage where Gamma will pay her a visit? Leave your thoughts and comments, everybody. Oh, yes. Poor Lydia, trapped in a cage. Who knows where Gamma's going to go? And the last part of the episode was Zeke and Jerry. Zeke says he's good. He is good. I don't think he's good. Luke tells Connie goodbye, probably last time. And we see the little house with Silence the Whisperer and the smoke coming out of the top of the house. Very, very eerie ending to that. Hey, everybody, we have just hit 1 hour, and believe it or not, we got through the entire episode in 2 streams. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not watched the 7:30 stream and you want to see an epic rant, we tore Aaron down. We had a good time with it. You'll see exactly the bullying, turning the other eye, not stepping up at different moments, some of the stuff that Aaron's going through. Get back, check that out. I thought we had a great time with that. This is our extended breakdown. We spent an hour on that. Appreciate you guys being here. Tomorrow night, we got 2 Walking Dead topics. It starts at 7:30. You're going to enjoy both topics we have for you tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'll see everybody here. Do me a favor one last time. We got 300, 400, 500 people that have been here. Hit that like button. If you're brand new, thank you so much for everything that you guys do. And also, hopefully these times are working for everybody. I know some of you guys work on various days. Some people get off work early. They work late. So we're trying to get as many streams out there, as many topics we can, because we want people to be able to participate live. I absolutely love when you guys watch the playback. Thank you for everything that you guys do. But I really, really love when you guys are all here live, because it's real-time interaction. Some of our best theories, some of our best comments, our best streams are when we have a ton of people just chatting it up and typing it up. Thank you so much for the Patreons in the top left-hand corner. Absolutely amazing long-term support from the Patreons. They work wonders for this channel. If you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon, there is a link down below in the description. Our PDL sponsors, top right-hand corner. PTL sponsors, that is a Patreon tier as well. We play our Play Dead live game every Friday night. So thanks to that group for supporting that and sponsoring that. If you guys want to participate in PDL Live, it'll be part of our Freestyle Friday stream starting at 8 o'clock on Friday. Super Chatters, thank you for everything that you guys do, keeping the conversation fresh and exciting. Also, the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. The Green Team, the members. Thank you so much. If you guys want to be a member, there's a join button there. And the Green Team, I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. Show the custom emojis. If you guys can flash, there it is right there, Lynn Nesvik. So if you guys want custom emojis, you want custom badges to be able to show your support, there's a join button down below. I want to thank you guys for everything that you guys do. The biggest shout out I always do and the most appreciation is for everybody in the stream that shows up every night, gets your thoughts on this video, participates in everything we do. We would not have a channel if it were not for each and every one of you. My name's Killshot. Once again, we will be back here tomorrow night at 7:30 and 9:30. Look forward to seeing everybody then. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.